So good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to Coffee Conversations. Today, I'm really excited. Ann Laker, everybody. Ann Laker. So I have known Ann for 10 years, I think. I'm going to estimate that. Maybe less, but I'm going to say 10. So we worked together at the IMA, which feels like a lifetime ago, will always be the IMA to me. She left and went to Big Car, then Indiana Forest Alliance. Now she's working on a project with Carbon Neutral, and she's been running her own firm, LakerVerbal, that has been community building and event spaces, or events in public spaces, I should maybe clarify, and a lot of grant writing. So Ann, thanks for joining me. It is such a treat to see your face.
Thank you, Jillian.
So, I also
Fun.
didn't write this down, but you're also working with a radio station too. So you're doing a lot of things. So tell us, what do you do?
Well,
Hmm.
I first of all, I'm just thrilled that you're doing this. This is
Oh,
so fun.
thanks.
I've watched several of the others.
Yeah,
I'm like, these are women. I think we all are like doing more than one thing.
I
Maybe that's what
agree.
we have in common.
It's so good. Maybe when we're, after pandemic and everyone has their shot passport or whatever, and we can get together, we'll do a Trace Indie and get all the women together and have, you know, wine and water and whatever works for them.
Oh God, that would be good. Well, I am out here. I think when you knew me, when we first met,
Mhm.
as we were causing trouble at the IMA. We were putting on events like Cloud Cult. Remember them?
Yeah, I helped
Um,
with that contract. That was a fun one.
you sure did. And I think my favorite thing that I ever brought to the IMA was the Vienna Vegetable Orchestra. Remember that?
Oh my gosh, I remember the mess.
It was people who took an eggplant, cut it in half, and used it as a percussion. And
Amazing.
so I've been causing trouble like that for a long time. I remember I got in trouble because the orchestra wanted to make some stew out of all the vegetables like after the concert and serve it to the audience, and the IMA was like, no, liability. I'm like, I'm out of here. No, no. Later, I chose to transition to a big car. Anyway, so what do I do? I think I'm super drawn to the arts and the environment. Those are my two babies that I wake up thinking about every day. So I've played in both of those fields, on both of those teams. And I came to a point where I was like, you know what? I feel like I want to be my own boss. I think I'm not alone in that, right?
You are
And
not.
so after working for these hustling nonprofits, I'm like, I'm gonna see who else I can help. So with LakerVerbal, I'm out here with a couple clients doing stuff like you said, grant writing. I'm working with a Mexican arts organization that just started up. I just met with a potential client that has a donkey farm in Mooresville that
So
uses
cool.
this awesome woman who uses donkeys as like therapy animals for people who are challenged. And I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, you go, girl. And if I can help you find a grant, let's do that. So I'm just having the best time with my portfolio of people. I find that I love being behind the scenes,
Mhm.
and I love helping people with a vision realize their vision. One of my clients told me that I was the wing beneath her wings.
Oh, I love
After I
that.
stopped laughing at how corny that was, I was like, what a nice thing to say.
Sweet. It's so sweet. Oh, I love that. So you've always kind of known what those passion projects were, but how did you kind of get there? I mean, obviously, yes, you wanted to work for yourself, so we know kind of how you got here, but some things I don't know. I mean, have you always been from indie? Did you always know kind of that path that you wanted to go? Um, can you kind of like walk us through? Because it does seem, you know, really perfectly aligned. Art, big car, forest, carbon neutral, all that. It's really kind of beautiful in almost a linear way, with a lot of us don't have that. So how did you kind of get there? Like, what was that trajectory, or at least that start, that push for you?
That's a great one. I actually haven't planned anything. The one time I tried to pursue a job that I thought I really wanted, it didn't work out at all. I've had so much better luck just following passion. I think
Yeah.
just from childhood, I was always into creative stuff. As you know, I'm a diary keeper and
Mhm.
I'm still doing that. And then I also loved playing in the woods, and my dad really taught me to not hate spiders. And I really got into Little House on the Prairie, which to me was a huge education on how to appreciate what you have.
Yeah.
Like Little House on the Prairie, they were given one orange for Christmas and they went ape shit.
You're
They
allowed to say that.
Okay, ape
You can
shit.
curse. Yeah.
We were so grateful and excited. And there's something about how to value our resources really
Yeah.
penetrated with me, like how to make something out of nothing, how to use what you have. And once you start thinking like that, you become appalled by like plastic,
Yeah.
utensils, which my husband and I actually had almost a little fight about last night because we went to a drive up takeout, and I'm like, tell him we don't want plastic utensils, and he like forgot or didn't want to, and I was like, no. Anyway, so that's like a really weird small example, but I think I'm just all about, hey, guess what? If we don't deal with our planet issues, no other cause is really going to have a chance. I mean, that's kind of the bottom line.
Yeah. Oh,
But I know that you are
so
a
good.
warrior, and we were talking about like education
Yeah.
policy. I found myself more free to get involved in politics. I don't know about you, but I was like making calls to Georgia, for the Senate race. I have also been writing a political column for this thing called the Howie Political Report.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I haven't put it on my LinkedIn yet, but it's just, let's think hard about
Yeah.
what these elected officials are doing. I mean, I know how passionate you are about education policy and women's, policies. I'm out here writing about wetlands and, you know, um, electric cars, and just trying to let's get energy around these things. Let's just keep talking and saying we want these things. What else can we do?
Oh my gosh. I love that. I mean, you're just putting so much out there into the world and our community that is for the good. So not to bring that down, but this is the flow of the conversation. Where have you found with that, right? With that drive to go out. And again, I love that you're like, I don't plan it. I just kind of land in places, but it's so passion driven. And I think that's actually incredibly inspirational for someone like me who's like plan, plan, plan. But where have you found some of that? Where has some of that struggle been? And counter that with where have some of that delight been as well?
Well, the deeper you get into a cause, the more you feel it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can keep you up at night. When I was working for the Indiana Forest Alliance, and they're my client again, so I couldn't leave them. I love them. We were trying to save this woods, Crown Hill at
Oh
Crown
yeah.
Hill Cemetery. That was the most dramatic thing. Like I mean, I'm a pretty calm person, but I was like, you know, my tummy was hurting. Like I
Yeah.
was, it was stressful. But we actually came out with a victory and
Yeah.
saved that forest from being cut down. So you have to be able to handle it when you let yourself go that far into a cause. But I feel like it was so worth it.
Yeah, no, 100%. I remember that. And now, I mean, you kind of offhand, but said now like working on the wetlands. And I know for those in Indiana, specifically Indianapolis, that's a really big deal right now is trying to save some wetlands. And um, it's a little ugly, but we'll do that on another conversation.
Mhm.
So bringing it back a little, I want to talk about, because you really talk passion project and um, or I shouldn't even say passion project, passion driven is actually what I like. What can the community do? So I love the question of what can the community do to show up? And I have a feeling knowing you, it is not going to be for you. So what do you want out of the community to do locally or bigger?
Well, you mentioned one of my clients right now is called Carbon Neutral Indiana. It's a new initiative that is just offering to do your carbon footprint for free. And then if
Oh,
you decide, okay, I know how much carbon I'm putting out there, I'd like to take responsibility for it and maybe pay like 30 or $40 a month and let that money be invested in like preserving a forest that can sequester carbon. So that's what would make you carbon neutral if you just kind of pay for it a little bit and then
okay.
it cycles back into something good. So anybody who wants to give that a shot, carbonneutralindiana.org. Uh, it's interesting. Even if you choose not to, do the offset, you'll still find out your footprint. But the more people who do their offset, the more we create like a positive peer pressure.
Yeah. I'm literally
And
like
then
writing
there's,
this down right now.
yeah, carbonneutralindiana.org. Another project that I got involved in, back to kind of the politics thing, is so much fun. It's called Conserve Indiana. It's a Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and it's just getting started. But we call it we're opening up a can of whoop ass so that we can push politicians into doing the right thing for the environment. It's not a party based issue, it's the
Yeah.
planet, people. And so we're kind of doing the Nasty Women of Indiana version of for the environment.
Oh my
So
gosh, I love
all
that.
that stuff. Yeah.
Oh, good. You do all the good things. Okay, so before we get to the trace question, we didn't touch on it, but I love you on Twitter, and you always have great blurbs about conversation. But one of the things you're doing is I want you to touch on, because we haven't, this radio show you're doing. And I know we had talked back like months ago about me being on to review a movie, and that didn't work out. But you do open calls all the time on Twitter for, hey, let's talk about this, or let's talk about this. Can you share a bit of what that show is, the channel that it's on, and what you're kind of working to get out of that?
Oh, fun, fun. We're going to get you on this
One
show.
day.
We're going to find the right movie. Flick Fix is the name of the
Okay.
show. And I'll be honest, I never would have thought to even do a movie review chat show if my friend Jim Walker hadn't invited me to, when they were starting up WQRT, which is the amazing radio station that Big Car runs,
Right.
99.1 FM. So whenever I feel like it, like every couple of weeks, we just pick a new movie and talk about it. Sometimes my guest is like my brother or my best friend. Sometimes it's someone I've never even met, but I recruited on Twitter or something. And it is so much fun just to exchange ideas about movies. I feel like movies are a huge reflection of culture. I love cinema. We started the Tobias Theater film program, which our friend Lindsay continues. And
Nice.
so, yeah, Flick Fix, it's on sometimes, not every Friday, but Fridays at 11:30, and it's also on this Mixed Cloud. Like, we store it up to listen as an archive anytime at this site called Mixcloud. So yeah, when you're watching a movie, let's talk.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I wanted to do a little shout out because I think it's so much fun. It's kind of like this. It just one of those things that organically happens, and you just want to talk and have good conversation. So with that big question, because we talked right before I hit record, and you did the same face that every single woman does. And I say, how do you want to leave your trace?
No, I'm making that face again because thank you seriously for asking that question. I don't think most of us are thinking about it every day. We needed you to ask. I guess I'm going to the nature. I'm thinking, if we can preserve more forests in Indianapolis and Indiana, they're going to help us out. Forests provide free services, like they absorb floodwater, they provide shade. Duh, haven't we ever the borax? Anyway, trees are like the best technology for dealing with climate change. So whether it's by writing grants to, get more forests preserved, or maybe if I save enough money, maybe my husband and I can have a little teeny tiny foundation and give away money for things like that. So I'm hoping to become a philanthropist of my own. When I'm done writing grants, I'll be like, hey, here's some money for stuff I believe in.
Oh, I love that. I always, I used to joke that if I won the lottery, everyone's like, I'd buy a house, I'd buy these things. I'd start a foundation. Like I'm with you. That's my up here too. Um, I'm so grateful for your time. And I'm so thankful that you said yes to doing this with me. And I know that you're not big on social media, all the places. So I'm just really thankful for you and really thankful for everything that you do in our community and that you've been doing for years, as that passion driven person that you are. So thanks so much for having coffee with me.
Oh, thank you, Jillian. I got my water right down here. You're the
Perfect.
best. Thanks
You're
for
the
shining
best.
the light.
Thank you.